So, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this week's Forex forecast for the 15th to 19th of July, brought to you by Trading Pro Nigeria Limited, hosted by Great White. So, as you know, Trading Pro is an international regulated service provider, 7 years experience, and a multi-award winning brokerage firm. They just won the best Forex spread in Africa at the last concluded Forex program in South Africa. They have a physical office in Lagos, Nigeria, and this is one of the services they offer to their clients to enable them get optimal education to take advantage of opportunities the market may offer. So, without wasting so much of your time, let's get down to what we have for next week. So, as always, we're going to start off with the economic calendar. If you can hear me clearly, just type in yes. Somebody is saying they can't hear me clearly. Just type in yes. So we're going to start off with the economic calendar. Monday, we have some high impact news on the USD. Wednesday, we have major impact news on the Canadian dollar. That's during the New York session, and also the US dollar. On Wednesday, we have high impact news on the British pound CPI, then minor impact news on the US dollar. Then Aussie, we have high impact news early in the morning for the Australian dollar, employment and unemployment change. Then 7, we have high impact news, and by 1:15, we have great news coming up for the euro on Thursday. Then unemployment claims for the dollar on Thursday as well. Then by 1:45, we have ECB press conference, and Friday is going to be a quiet New York session for the US dollar because we don't have any dollar news. So that's out of the way. As always, we're going to start off with the Euro GBP, US 100, dollar index, Euro USD, GBP USD, gold, pound yen, and euro yen. So we're going to start off with the Euro GBP. The Euro GBP for now is still bearish. If we look at price from the weekly time frame, we can see that we have a close below this swing low at 83.97, which points to the fact that we might be coming for 83.87 and almost 83.40 going into this new week. But going into the new week, the possibility exists that since price has swept this low, we might see a bit of a retracement into either of these fair value gaps on the daily. So if we drop down to the 4-hour time frame, what you'll be waiting for on the 4-hour time frame is a pullback. You'll be waiting for a retracement into any of these fair value gaps. Watch this area first. You're going to be watching this area between 84.11 to 84.22 as your first point. If price breaks through this level, then know that price is going to come through this point. That is provided price does not sweep low first. That means price must not take out the low of the previous week. Let me put in my annotation. So if we drop down to the 4-hour time frame, you must not get a sweep of the previous week's low. Because if you do that, then that means that the retracement is going to be very steep. So price must not sweep the previous week's low at 83.91 first. What do I mean? You need to see price leave this low intact and retrace upwards. Then after that, then you're sure this is going to be the draw. So that's what we have going into this new week. We're going to see an eternal retracement before a continuation to the downside on the Euro GBP. The next way we're going to be looking at is the US 100. This pair, although still bullish, but we seem to have a short-term high in place at 20.75.2. This last down candle was the low before this rally made, and you can see price has broken it. But price currently is sitting at this fair value gap on the 4-hour, which points to the fact that we might see price try to fill in this area. If we look at this on the 1-hour, we have a rejection on the 1-hour. Not only was it a rejection, long upper week, and it closed back within the range of this previous candle. So there's a high possibility that we might see price filling this fair value gap and continue to the downside. But we'll watch to see what happens on Monday. The next pair we're going to be looking at is the dollar index. For now, the dollar index is bearish. But where it is at the moment is not where you want to engage in a decision making. We have liquidity here. We have this massive set of lows here. So if price is to continue lower, you don't want to see it sweep any of these lows coming into the new week. We want to see a retracement first. As you can see, price is sitting above 103.99 and 103.88. So we'll prefer to see a retracement first into any of these fair value gaps, then before a continuation to the downside. So what we would like to see is price must not take the sell side liquidity first. If it takes the sell side liquidity, then it's going to come up to 104.80, 105.20. So we want to see the bullish retracement first, then before a continuation to the downside on the dollar index. For now, it is still bearish. The same thing too goes for the Euro USD. If we look at the Euro USD, this pair is bullish for now. It seems to be eyeing the levels it's eyeing going into next week. Let me put in my annotations. There are lots of levels there, so please pardon the way my chart looks. We have this high at 109.16. Then we have a rejection on the daily at 109.22 and so forth. So if we drop down to the daily time frame, what we'll be waiting for is this area, a retracement into this zone. That is between 1.0896 to 1.0904 to act as support, then for price to continue to the upside. Just like I said on the dollar index, you don't want price to rally first. We prefer to see a down move and a continuation to the upside on the Euro USD, as this pair for now is bullish. Most likely it's going to hit 109.16. Then this is a rejection I was talking about on the weekly, 1.0922, then before coming up into these levels here. So the next one we're going to be looking at is the GBPUSD. The GBPUSD for now is still bullish. This pair is still bullish. Let me use my annotations. If we go to the monthly, it is at this monthly fair value gap. And this is a monthly week. It's also a fair value gap. Price is at the equilibrium of this week. So this is a monthly time frame. If we go back to the daily, to the weekly, price most likely, we're going to wait for a retracement. Then the draw on liquidity is going to be 1.3098 and 1.3145. So if we drop down to the daily time frame, we have these fair value gaps here before this 3142. So that's going to be the draw on liquidity. So what are you going to be waiting for going into this new week? You'll be waiting for a retracement on price. As we can see, we have this master candle here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you wait for a retracement, then a continuation, as most often when you have a master candle on the any time frame, if price breaks out of it, price is going to do the same range of that candle. So if we take this up, so we'll be looking at price to come to 30.27 going into next week. So, but first, we need to see a retracement into this fair value gap here on the 4-hour, or even this before a continuation to the upside on this pair. So the GBPUSD is still bullish. The next pair is gold. Looking at gold, we're going to start gold from the monthly time frame. You can see price is still moving to the upside on this pair. If we drop down to the weekly time frame, most likely this pair is going to come into retest 24.31. This high here, you can see there's no body close above it, so price may be retesting it. But if we go to the daily, there's something I would like us to note on the daily. If we go to the daily, you see this last down candle here. You can see all this candle within its range. This is a high level range or a master candle. You have 18 candles within this body, and you see the first break came back in and broke out. So going into this new week, the possibility exists that we might see a retracement before a continuation to the upside. And if price should continue to the upside, where would the target most likely be? You're going to be watching this same range. No, not going to use this. I'm going to use this so that we can see the midpoint. So we have this range. So if we extend this upwards, price most likely is going to come for 24.38 first. If it gets heavily extended, then you're going to see 24.89. So that's the upside target on gold. Going into this new week, gold is bullish. You'll be waiting for a retracement into this last down close, into this last down close candle for a continuation to the upside. Then the next pair is pound yen. As we can see, we seem to have a short-term top on this pound yen. If you remember, I've been talking about this monthly fair value gap here as far back as 2008, because that's when this was created, 2000 July 1st of July 2008. And you can see immediately price ran into it. That was when the Bank of Japan intervened. So if we drop down to the weekly, we have a long upper wick into this body. So that shows us that we have a short-term high in play on the yen pairs. But if we drop down to this daily time, let's go to the 4 hours so that you can see what I'm about to show you. This range low, we have a close below it. But if you notice, when price retraced, price stayed above it. So what does that point? The possibility that we might see a bit of a steep retracement, probably 206.70 before a continuation to the downside, as this intervention was as a result of the Bank of Japan pumping in 3 trillion yen into the market when I think it was when the news release for the dollar index came out. So this is the handwork of the Bank of Japan. So the last but not the least is the euro yen. This euro yen, if you look at it on the weekly, it's clearly bullish. This is more certain because of the euro weakness against the pound. So euro across board is weak. So you can see the retracement. It has taken buy-side liquidity and taken out this entire candle. But it's retesting this swing high here. So we might see a bit of a bounce going into the daily time frame. If you look at this area, there's a volume imbalance here. And see, there's no candle body between 172.44 to 172.60. So if you drop down to the lower time frame, like the 4-hour time frame, the possibility is that price is going to retrace into here. If it gets above here, then you'll be watching this high. But for now, the euro yen is tilting to the downside. So that settles it. Is there any pair anybody who want me to look at before we call it a night? Is there any pair anybody who want me to look at before we call it a night? Silver, I don't look at silver. EURNZD, nzdusd. I don't trade silver, but let me look at silver. Silver is not a pair I trade, and I don't normally get to look at it, but let me look at silver. Well, silver is still bullish. Looking at it on the 4-hour, this is your range. This is your dealing range, this low to this high. So what you're going to be waiting for on this pair, let me start from the monthly. Well, we have weeks on the monthly. Let's go to, no, sorry, monthly. This weekly is a little bit suspect, but it will still continue to the upside. So what you'll be watching is the fair value gap created between 30.38 to 29.72. That's the fair value gap you'll be watching for. If you drop down to the daily, well, this is an engulfing on the daily. So which points to the fact that you might still see a little bit of weakness. And it's possible because if you look at this silver, you have 1, 2, 3, 3 before this failure to the upside. So which means that price is going to come for this low before a continuation to the upside. Because since there was a rejection, on the daily, it's a rejection. That's what you need to be aware of. On the daily, it's a rejection. Price didn't close above this high. But on the 4-hour, it's looking like a bullish close. But since it didn't close on the daily, the possibility is that they might spike this low into this 4-hour fair value gap before a continuation to the upside. So during the starting of the week, you might see a bearish move before a bullish move to the upside. So somebody said NZD, USD. Let me look at Euro NZD first. Euro NZD. This pair, let me start from the weekly. This pair is still bullish. The possibility exists that it might move a little bit higher before continuing to the downside because we have this big bullish close. But if you notice, price didn't close outside the fair value gap. This fair value gap here. Price didn't close above it. So that means that this has rejected price. If we drop to the 4-hour time frame, the possibility is that this may come into 1.7747 to 1.7599. Then if it is to continue to the upside, then you're going to see it. So what on the 4-hour is going to tell you that this is a temporary top. Once you get a close below this 1.7759, wait for a retracement, then you're going to see a move in before a continuation to the upside if it will continue. So the last but not the least, somebody said NZD USD. So let's go to NZD USD. NZD USD. Let's look at this pair. Well, this pair is in a consolidation. Let me look at it from the weekly. Well, it's very clear. It's in a consolidation on the weekly. It's in a consolidation on the weekly. The daily time frame. The daily time frame, it seems to be gearing to move to the upside. Let's look at it on the 4-hour time frame. The 4-hour is not looking so good. This pair is in a kind of a consolidation. Well, what is going to cancel the consolidation is when you get the close on the 4-hour above 0.6134. So that's going to be something like this above here. Then you wait for a retracement and a continuation to the upside. That's what we have on this pair. We don't have a good close above this set of highs here. That's why I'm concerned. We don't have a good close. So you need to see a good close on the 4-hour above these highs before a continuation to the upside. Well, once price takes out 60.65, it's going to continue to the downside. So thank you all for taking your time to attend. I wish everybody a blessed and wonderful weekend ahead. And thank you all for attending. So good night, everybody.